Alright folks, tonight we're diving headfirst into one of history's wettest events, the Great Flood. Picture this, the world's a mess. Humans are acting up and the big guy upstairs is fresh out of patience. So what's a deity to do? Unleash a flood of biblical proportions, of course. We're talking a deluge so massive it makes your bathtub overflowing look like a puddle. Trust me folks, this wasn't your average April shower. This was the kind of downpour that makes you want to build a boat, gather up every animal you can find, and wait it out. Speaking of boats, let's talk about Noah. Now, Noah was a righteous dude, at least by ancient standards. He followed the rules, kept his nose clean, and probably recycled, which was impressive considering they hadn't even invented paper yet. So when God decided to hit the cosmic reset button, Noah was the guy he called. Imagine getting that voicemail. Hey Noah, it's God, build a boat. A big one. And you know what? Noah didn't even ask for a second opinion, he just went full-on Bob the Builder and got to work. Now that's faith. Now the story of the Great Flood isn't just about a downpour. It's about humanity's knack for messing things up. Seriously, we're talking epic levels of mischief. Think of it like this. If the history of humanity were a high school yearbook, we'd be voted most likely to start a flood. The ancient texts are a bit vague on the specifics, but it boils down to humans behaving badly. We're talking rampant wickedness, corruption, and probably some questionable fashion choices. So, after a while, enough was enough. The big guy upstairs decided it was time for a hard reset, a cosmic do-over. And what better way to clean up a messy planet than with a good old-fashioned flood? So, God gives Noah the blueprints for a massive boat. Not just any boat, mind you, but a floating zoo capable of weathering a storm that would make Poseidon himself seasick. This wasn't your grandpa's fishing boat, this was the OG cruise liner. We're talking about an ark 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. Now, I know what you're thinking. John, those are some big boy numbers, but what do they even mean? Well folks, after some intense internet research, it turns out a cubit is roughly the length of your forearm to your elbow. So, doing the math, that makes the ark about the size of a football field and a half. That's a lot of lumber. Can you imagine Noah at the Home Depot? Yeah, I'll take all your gopher wood. No, seriously, I need every last plank. I'm building an ark, mate. Picture this. The rain's coming down sideways, the wind's howling like a banshee, and you're stuck on a boat with two of every animal on Earth. It's basically a floating petting zoo from hell. And don't even get me started on the smell. I'm talking Oda wet dog, elephant dung, and whatever the heck a pangolin smells like all rolled into one. And the noise? Forget about it. You've got lions roaring, monkeys chattering, birds squawking, and probably a rooster crowing at some ungodly hour. Let's just say Noah and his family weren't getting much sleep on this cruise. But hey, at least they had a decent view, right? I mean, talk about waterfront property. They had the whole ocean to themselves. No traffic jams, no noisy neighbors, just the gentle rocking of the waves and the occasional sea monster. After 40 long days and nights, the rain finally stopped, the clouds parted, the sun peeked through, and a single dove returned to the ark with an olive branch in its beak. Side note, have you ever tried catching a dove? Those things are fast. I'm just saying, Noah deserved a medal for his bird wrangling skills alone. Anyway, the dove's return meant one thing, dry land. After months of floating around, Noah and his family, along with all those animals, finally set foot on terra firma. Can you imagine the relief, the joy, the overwhelming urge to find the nearest bathroom? But before they could kick back and relax, they had a lot of work to do. They had to rebuild civilization from scratch. First things first, finding food. Luckily, they had two of every animal, so they weren't exactly short on options. The story of the Great Flood has been passed down for generations. It's a tale of redemption, resilience, and the importance of listening to your weather app. But most importantly, it's a reminder that even when we mess up, there's always hope. And let's be real, we've made some pretty epic messes over the centuries. Wars, pollution, those crocs with the fur on them, the list goes on. But just like Noah and his family, we always find a way to rebuild, to learn from our mistakes, and to create something new. So the next time you see a rainbow after a storm, remember the story of Noah's Ark. Remember the power of hope, the importance of second chances, and maybe consider investing in a good umbrella. You know, just in case.